Each era of NBA players provides us with some of the most exciting athletes to ever have stepped on the floor. And last decade wasn't the exception, as we were able to see players like LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and James Harden rise to the top of the league and put on amazing performances day after day. However, like everything in life, things must come to an end. Most of the stars we've come accustomed to seeing are already in their 30s, and even while it looks like some of them could easily keep playing until their 40s, the league will eventually be dominated by the next generation of stars. In fact, some of those young players have already earned recognition as stars after an impressive start to their careers. And one of the names leading the charge for that up-and-coming generation is none other than Utah's shooting guard, Donovan Mitchell, who, despite having made some history already, could very well just be scratching the surface. Welcome to Courtside. Today we're talking about Donovan's amazing career so far and why his future should be among the most promising in the league. Back in the summer of 2017, the Utah Jazz was in a difficult position. The team was coming off season in which it managed to reach the playoffs for the first time in 5 years, while also leading the Northwest Division for the first time in almost a decade. However, the celebration didn't last long, as the Jazz was swept in the second round of the playoffs by the Golden State Warriors after barely making it out of the first round. On top of that, franchise player Gordon Hayward was about to enter unrestricted free agency, and while he hadn't shown any signs of being uncomfortable with the organization, the prospect of him leaving had many people in Utah worried about the future of the team. But even in the middle of that situation, there was reason to be excited about its future. As that year's draft was getting closer, the front office was analyzing its options, but given the selections it owned were close to the end of the first round, there weren't any indications it could add a potential star. Still, things started to change when Mitchell decided to participate in one of the team's workouts. That decision was not expected, given that Donovan was projected to be selected with a lottery pick. However, the young prospect later mentioned he wanted to work out for the organization since he loved it, as well as the city of Utah. And as it turned out, it was love at first sight for the Jazz as well. The young guard was not considered an elite player in his draft. Instead, he was thought of as a two-way player with limited star potential. Still, he impressed most people during workouts with his athleticism and some of his skills. And in the case of Utah, he looked so good against other prospects that GM Dennis Lindsey immediately decided he had to at least try to get him, and he even went as far as menacing his staff with firing everyone if there were any leaks regarding his intentions. In the end, there were no leaks, and no one was fired, as the front office managed to complete a trade with the Denver Nuggets that allowed them to select Mitchell with the 13th pick after teams like Charlotte and Detroit decided to pass on him. The front office was able to acquire the player it wanted, but once again, the celebration wouldn't last long. A few weeks after the draft took place, Hayward announced he would join former college coach Brad Stevens in Boston to try to win a championship with the Celtics, thus leaving Utah without who had been its franchise player since 2013. Without its leader on offense, the Jazz was expected to take a step back and possibly go through another rebuild if things didn't work out. And during the first few weeks of the new season, it looked like that would end up being the case, or so it was until Donovan's history started. Despite having an excellent performance during the Summer League, Mitchell came off the bench to start the season, as most rookies do. However, a little over a month after making his professional debut, he proved he had the tools to become a threat on offense after setting the Jazz scoring record for a rookie with a 41-point game. So, given the team had a disappointing record and had been scoring at a mediocre rate, the young guard became part of the starting lineup around the second half of the season and helped guide the Jazz to a 32-13 record the rest of the way as Utah reached the playoffs for the second consecutive season. He broke several franchise and league records along the way, including the record for most three-pointers made by a rookie. And if that wasn't enough, he became one of the most popular players in the league after winning the 2018 dunk contest with an electrifying performance. His effort earned him a selection as part of the All-Rookie First Team, as well as second place in voting for Rookie of the Year. However, he immediately showed he was capable of playing even better once the regular season was over. During his first playoffs, Donovan increased most of his averages while being crucial in leading the Jazz to a first-round upset over the Oklahoma City Thunder. His play allowed the team to return to the exact same spot where its last season had ended. However, that wasn't enough to overcome James Harden and the Houston Rockets. The following two seasons allowed the young guard to keep working on his game. That helped him lead the Jazz to 2 more postseason appearances while also earning him the first All-Star selection of his career during last season. However, even while Donovan had shown the ability to be the leader of a franchise, it wasn't clear whether he was good enough to lead a team to a deep playoff run. But then the Orlando bubble came around. After months of drama following what was reported as an unsalvageable rift in the relationship between Mitchell and Rudy Gobert because of the center's irresponsible behavior regarding health protocols to avoid the coronavirus pandemic, Utah returned to the court as part of the league's plan to finish the season, and many were wondering how things would work out. At first, it didn't look like the Jazz was interested in winning too many of its seeding games, and after earning a matchup against the Denver Nuggets in the first round of the bubble playoffs, most people thought the team would be defeated without presenting too much of a fight. As it turned out, nothing could have been further from the truth. Utah took a commanding 3-1 series lead against Denver, and though things didn't go as expected in the end, Donovan showed to the world he had all that it takes to be in the same group as some of the best players in league history. Throughout the series, the shooting guard scored over 50 points twice, joining Michael Jordan and Allen Iverson as the only players with multiple 50-pointers in a single playoff series, while also scoring the third most points in a game in playoff history. Mitchell showed he was not only an elite scorer, but also one that's capable of putting up performances that have only been matched by all-time greats like Jordan and Iverson. That alone makes him an invaluable player, especially in today's league. And while he wasn't capable of leading his team out of the first round, with a talent like his, it should only be a matter of time before the Jazz starts to win more consistently in the postseason. And that's exactly why fans in Utah should be encouraged about the future. Donovan's effort was rewarded with a maximum extension to his rookie deal. That was just a formality, but it guarantees he'll remain with the team for at least a few more years. And by knowing that, the front office will be able to develop a proper strategy for the future. As things are currently standing, the team could be good enough to win 1 or 2 series if everyone's healthy. After all, we must take into consideration they were missing Bojan Bogdanovic in Disney World. So his return could be enough to take the Jazz one step further in the playoffs. To make things better, Conley played his best basketball since being traded from Memphis against the Nuggets, and if he's able to keep playing at a high level, he could form one of the toughest backcourts with Mitchell. The addition of Derek Favors and the return of Jordan Clarkson should also keep the team playing at a high level. In the end, the continued development of Donovan should be what determines whether the Jazz is eliminated in the first round or if it reaches the conference finals. Aside from improving his scoring last season, the young guard also took a step forward in creating plays for others. And that was in full display during the playoffs, as he averaged a career-high 4.9 assists per game in the series against Denver. That number may not surprise most people, considering he can almost score at will. Something that should help the offense improve is his ability to distribute the ball. He's already one of the players with the highest usage rates in the league. As a result, a large part of Utah's possessions go through his hands. So if he can improve the way he reads defenses, he should be capable of creating more and better plays for his teammates, which could also make him a more versatile threat on offense. Outside of that, there's not much to complain about, and that's good news for the team. Since coming into the league, he's made slow and steady improvements in most areas of his game, and while the best should still be to come, he may already be one of the most talented players in the NBA. But we can be sure about one thing. The loss against Denver should be enough to push him to come back better than ever before. So despite the excellence we've already seen from him, the coming year should be full of excitement for Utah. Altogether, Donovan may end up being remembered as one of the greatest steals in the draft league history. No one expected him to be this good this quick, and even when people have become used to his outstanding performances, he still finds a way to impress everyone and ridicule opposing defenses. That's already a victory for Utah, but if the team wants to get the most out of its star player, it'll need to surround him with an elite talent as he continues to grow. If they push the right buttons, this could be their chance to win the championship that Jordan denied them a couple of decades ago. But now, what do you think about Donovan's future? You think he could lead the Jazz to a championship someday? Let us know in the comments. We hope you've enjoyed today's video, and if you did, remember to give us a like and subscribe to our channel so that we can keep giving you more NBA content. We are Courtside.